A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to our EBSB activity number
Good
one. For
morning.
this,
Good morning,
we
ma'am.
are fortunate enough to have with us Professor Gautam Kumar, who is associated with Teacher Education Department, University of Utkal, that is Utkal University. He is associated with teacher education means definitely he is going to be one of the resourceful person whom you can ask lot of queries. He is actually pursuing his PhD from Regional Institute of Education, Bhubaneswar, and he is one of the person who is associated with, or rather various curriculum designing. He has done B.Ed, D.Ed from different universities. He is very much associated with ICT skills. To his publications, he has two many
Good morning,
publications
ma'am.
at, good morning, international and national level. So let's welcome sir with a large loud of applause. You all can put your clap symbol on your this one screen. Let's welcome sir with a clap.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sir, over to you, sir. We
Okay,
are also sir, we are having faculty members also. Dr.
okay,
Vaishali Sawant, Dr. Archana Kadgeri, Dr. Manjeet Sende with us. So they will be also
okay,
interacting with you all.
okay.
Welcome
So,
you, sir, on behalf of Media
first
Officer
of all,
Societies, Hansraj Gurundas College of Education.
okay,
Please,
okay.
sir, you can start.
Thank you, first of all, to all of you, and good morning once again. And I really like to thank Professor Srima Banerjee, the coordinator of this program, and the principal of the college Hansraj Jivan Das College of Education, that is Anita Swami, and all the team member, faculty, even the supporting staff of the college. They are very actively engaged in the nurturing actually the future of the country, because the Kothari Commission says that the future of country is seen in her classroom, and the classroom is being shaped by the teacher, and you are the future teacher of the country. So I will really thank and salute their effort. This is the first thing. Second thing, that when I came to know that you have this kind of a program where you interact with the, or you come to know with the different kind of the cultural heritage of the country, it's a really a good thing. In When I was doing a B.Ed program in that Regional Institute of Education, I have taught there also for 3 years. There we have a community linkage program where the students are going for 15 days in the community. They stay there and they understand the social perspective of the education. Okay, so that was the secondary thing apart the talk which I'm supposed to talk on. And one more interesting thing is that I think Srima ma'am may also be not knowing that I have born in Bihar and working
Oh,
in Odisha. So Janm
okay.
Bhumi is Bihar, Karma Bhumi is Odisha, and I have been given a
Okay.
topic to talk on the excess of higher education from both state. One was in past, another one is in the present, and more another one is coming in the future. Means the birth of that institution has taken. That also I will take about that institution in this talk. Okay, so this is the I think one of the favorite thing and the good thing for me that I'm getting this opportunity. Okay, so uh, when we see the educational institutes, its contribution for the betterment of society, and the society and their contribution for the flourishing the educational institute, it is somehow interdependable, means both depends on other. If the society's support is not there, educational institute cannot flourish. And if educational institutes are not working for the society, then there is no meaning of existence of that uh, educational institute. And today, where I will be discussing about the Nalanda University, that was the one of the center of excellence of higher education in India, or you can say that throughout the globe. The next one is the Utkal University, which is said to be the mother of universities of Odisha. It is a mother. So we will see how both the institutions are contributing for the development of a society, and how the society is contributing for the development of the institution. So first I will like to start with the Utkal University, obviously where I am associated with. I am working as an assistant professor in the teacher education department, that is the education department of teacher education of Utkal University. It is the newly established department. Okay, however our university is very old. Just in 2019 we have completed 75 years, that is we have celebrated platinum jubilee year. I will share screen, just wait for some time. I think screen sharing is disabled for me, so please enable that so that I can show something to the participant.
Shrima madam, make sir the host. In front of sir, you'll find more. There, make sir host.
Because the screen sharing is disabled for me.
Yes.
So in between I will
Sir's name you'll find mute, unmute and more. More you click, you'll find make sir, make him host.
Host Vaishali.
Now it's okay.
Done, no?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
This is the department, Utkal University, Utkal University Department of Teacher Education, where I am associated. This is the gate of our university, the main entrance gate. Okay, so that is the immaterial thing, just we will skip that. And when we see that how the Utkal University has come into the existence. Okay, so when the Orissa is separated from the Bihar in 1936, so that time when the Odisha is separated from the Bihar, Odisha was not having any university, and the colleges of the Odisha was affiliated to the Patna University of the Bihar. Okay, that time we were not having any university, and all the colleges was affiliated to Patna University. But the persons of that time, they have thought that there must be a center, there must be an institution like a university that should work for the society, and that should fulfill the demand of the society. And see, the genesis of the university has come up from the society, because the initiative was not taken by the government. Initiative of establishing the universities by taken by the some of the personalities, some of the learned people of Odisha at that time, and they includes Sri Biswanath Das, one of the premier person, one of the legendary person of that time. Pandit Nilakant Das, they were the person who have even Maharaja Krishna Chandra Gazpati, who was the king of the Gazpati kingdom. So they have taken the initiative that there should be a university in this area also, that will take care the need of higher education of the Odisha state. So we should not be dependent on the other state, and that's why one proposal is proposed to the government. Obviously it was not the free and independent India. It was the India was under the rule of the Britishers. So that time the proposal has been sent that there must be a university in Orissa, in this province also. And the king of that time, that is the king of Gaspati, he agreed that he will donate a land for the establishment of a university, and he donated, and that's the university started on 27th November 1943. The university started, but at that time there was no building, there was no structure, and the Bhubaneswar where the now university is established, it was totally forest. Okay, so the university started temporarily in the campus of Ravensa College. Now Ravensa is a university itself, but that time the Ravensa College accommodated Utkal University to function from there, and some of the buildings, some of the portion, they have been taken from there to function the university. That was taken from there. And the principal of that college, that is the Ravensa College, they started acting as a vice chancellor, and one of the teacher, he started acting as a registrar of the university, and slowly some of the courses has been added, and then it started functioning. Then it is felt that to how many years we will continue functioning from there, and lastly the foundation stone of the present campus where the university is now is laid down by the Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the president, first president of India, and the campus is inaugurated on 2nd January 1963. That is the second president of India at that time, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Currently, the university is having 30 regular PG departments, 12 Center of Excellence, 18 self-financing programs, and about 371 affiliated colleges ranging from the medicine, humanities, social science, science, technology, management, pedagogical science, and law. Lots of courses we have, and there is also one Directorate of Distance and Continuing Education, which has a separate campus just adjoining to the main campus. So that is the brief of the courses that we are running, that how the university is established, and you will be happy to know that the university is A plus university as per the NAC accreditation, and comes under the category 1 as per the recent norms of the MHRD. It is the label 1 university. And the second thing, very interestingly, that first thing I have tried to establish, that how the society has come up to establish the institute, means the persons at that time, they have taken the initiative to establish a center of education, and that's why when this university is established, it is also taking care the need of the society by providing the excellent educational environment. That's why it is the A plus university. That's why it is the label 1 university, and also it have the some societal engagement programs. Okay, and not only that, right from the establishment of university, the motto, mission, vision, even the logo of the university reflects the society. Even you will see, I think you must be able to see in the screen the logo of the society. There is some boats in the sea in the logo in the round figure that symbolizes the ship and the maritime activities, because you know that the Odisha is situated as the east coast of India, and the peoples, uh, 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 those who are along with the east coast, their livelihood are mostly affected by the maritime activities. Even in the past, the peoples of Odisha were going for the trade through the ship to the different institution different countries. So that is the integral part of the Odisha, means sea and the sea activities and the livelihood related to the sea, the opportunities, the knowledge, everything related to the sea is the integral part of the Odisha. We cannot separate. That's why it has taken place in the Shambal. The next thing is that is the uh, stalk of corn. It depicts the agricultural activities. The another thing is that the mount and the fort that depicts the natural beauty of Orissa. You will surprised to know that there are various places in Orissa that have a potential, you can say that the tourist place, and it is well maintained because it is not much reached by the people like that the Goa or other thing where the lots of crowds are there. Here peoples are very less and less tourists are coming, so it is unspoiled and you can explore also when you will get time. And there are certain experiments are also going on in the field of agriculture in the Koraput. Some people have also experimented to cultivate the coffee, and the coffee is the one of the finest coffee you can find in the Orissa. Now it is also sold in the Amazon. And the more important thing is that the book and the lighting lamp, okay, that propagates the highest ideal, that is the propagate the learning to spread the light. And this is the postal stump that was inaugurated by the postal department on completion of 75 years of the university in 2018, because 18 to 19 was the platinum jubilee year for us, and that was released on the first day of the ceremony, that we have started on the 27th November 2018. That was the first day of the ceremony. This was released. When we see the library of the university, it is one of the best library in Orissa, and I can very confidently say that throughout the country. When we see the libraries in the universities, that is the library is named after the first vice chancellor, Professor Panna Krishna Parija, and the library name is the Parija Library. He was a great scientist and the first vice chancellor of the Utkal University. It was established in 1946. Initially, it was working in the Cuttack, that is the just adjacent to the Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar and Cuttack are said to be the twin city, and it is separated by the river Mahanadi. So it was there because the initial campus of Utkal University was also in the Cuttack in the Ravensa University. So it was established there, and it has been brought to the main campus in 1962. It has more than 3 lakhs of books. It has received a donation kind of a book like that at 2500. National and international journals are 236, and very important thing here is that the total manuscript I will talking about, that is the 5800. I will talk about that. And we have a digital library also where there are several database journals are subscribed. I was saying that is the manuscript. Actually, when the university was established, at that time, those who were engaged in establishment of the university and the first vice chancellor of the Utkal University, they have thought, let the indigenous knowledge available in the Orisha in any form should be preserved in the library. That's why the literature and the manuscript available at that time in the form of either on the palm leaf or in the brick or on the stone etc was collected, and so many persons have been devoted to collect those manuscripts. They were roaming in the villages, in the locality, and they were collecting the manuscript, and they have collected total 5,800 manuscripts. That are some of the very rare manuscripts that are only available in the library of Utkal University, like the manuscript related to the Gita Govinda, Alankar Sanghita, Oriya Puran. Like these are the things are only available to the manuscript library of the Utkal University, manuscript section of the Utkal University. Apart from that, there are also very precious manuscript related to the Vedas, Tantra, Sanskrit, Dharma Shastra, Darshan, Jyotish, mathematics, that is Ganit, Ayurveda, Abhidan, Vyakran, kind of so many things are there. And anybody who are interested, anybody who want to see, even as a like that the museum, or anybody who want to visit for a research purpose, can go and see those things by taking the due permission. This is the main building of the central library. It is lighted for celebrating the platinum jubilee. The institution has total 12 hostel. Out of 12, 6 are the gents hostel, 6 are the ladies hostel. University is not a fully residential in nature. However, those who are in need of accommodation, cheap in accommodation, because nowadays Bhubaneswar is also very costly city. So those who need a cheap accommodation, they can stay in the hostel. Total 12 hostels we have, and the nature of university is not the fully residential university, and it is the affiliating university. That's why we have a 371 affiliated college to the university. And very surprisingly, this statistics I want to show you, that the gender statistics, because the government data report and says that there are less female candidate, female student in the education, especially in the higher education, because some of they are marrying after getting the education up to 12 or graduation. Okay, so there, and after that they have to take care of all those things. Sometimes the that is the norms and the things at the in-laws family is not favorable, so they used to discontinue the education. That's why we see that there are a less female candidate in the higher education. But surprisingly, when we see the gender audit of the Utkal University, this is the data of 14 to 16, we see that at all level the female candidates dominates the male candidate. For example, see the postgraduate courses, regular postgraduate courses, male are 39.50, whereas female are 60.49. In self-financing courses, it is equal 50-50. In MPhil, male are 41.23, where are the females are 58.76. At PhD level even, male are 41.79, whereas female are 58.20. So the university in the university, female candidate dominates the male candidate. That reflects our commitment to provide a quality education, our commitment to provide a secure environment so that the female candidate can also come, join, and stay in the campus. Sorry. Okay, so I think now I will talk about, because time is also one of the factor, and I think that we must have some time for the discussion also and take your queries also. So that is I will try to bind up about the Utkal University up to here. The more detail of the Utkal University can be found on the uh, official website of the Utkal University, that is the utkaluniversity.nic.in. I will flash that one on the screen also at the end of presentation. And then as I was saying that I am fortunate enough to have a talk on the center of excellence for both the state. Another center of excellence in the past was the Nalanda University, and very surprisingly also that was also established with the help of the society. It was helping to the society, and that's why there was a mutual relationship between the institute and the society. The Nalanda University is now ruined off by the Mughal Empire, that is the Khilji, but the remaining remains of ruins of the university is still there, and this is the ruins of the university. And by seeing that, you can understand the how was the university when it was running. And very surprisingly, when that the when we see the existing the present structure of the university, and when we verify the how was the university at that time with the literature of Hien Sang, who was the traveler, Chinese traveler at that time. He came and he studied here also. So actually the authentic source of information about the Nalanda University is the literature given by the written by the Hien Sang only. So as when we match the existing structure that we have now and how was the university as the written by the Hien Sang, we come to a point that the existing present structure is only the 10% of the original structure. So just think how big it was. It was the first university, even the first residential university that was founded in the 5th century. At the same time, we had actually the India in the past was the center of excellence, center of higher education, center of learning, when the other people were even the struggling to get civilized, even the civilization was not there. We had a center of higher education, excellent center of higher education. And apart from the Nalanda University, two more was in the India at that time India. One is the Vikramshila University, that is now comes under the Bhagalpur district of Bihar, and another one is the Takshashila University. Now it is a part of the Pakistan because after separation of
Gautam sir, just a minute. There are few people who have got disconnected. They want to join in. Since you are the host, will you please allow them in?
Okay, ma'am. Yes,
Please, sir. So sorry to interrupt.
okay, ma'am. I have admitted all.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Please continue. Sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So, one was the Vikramshila University that was in the Bhagalpur, and another was in the Takshashila, that is the Takshashila University. It was in the Punjab, which is a part of Pakistan now. One Punjab we have in India also, but another one is in the Pakistan also. So it was there. The university was, when it was in the peak, that is the 7th century, it had a 10,000 student and 2,000 faculty, as reported by the Hinsa. Actually, as we know that the authentic source of information about this university, that is the Nalanda University, is only the writing of the Hinsa. Okay, so as reported by the Hinsan, in the 7th century, when this university was at its peak, so it was having the 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers. I think now also we don't have such a university that hosts 10,000 students in the face-to-face regular mode. In the correspondence mode, like IGNOU may have, they have more than that also. But the universities who are hosting a course in the face-to-face mode, we don't have now even. No university have a 2,000 faculties, but that time the Nalanda University, you can just imagine the legacy of the university by these data. That is my point. Even when it is said that when the universities were burned by the Khilji, it is said that the university was keep burning up to 3 to 4 months. You just think that one, I don't, I'm not trying to say that we should burn anything. It is really not a favorable thing. But just think that if any library of any university unfortunately gets a fire, how long it will burn? Maybe 6 to 7 hours, maybe one day, maybe 2 days, maybe 10 days, but it keeps burning up to 3 to 4 months. So by that you can imagine that how huge collection of literature the library of Nalanda University was having, because the collection was large. That's why it keep burning. When we see the establishment of the university, actually it was mainly contributed by the Gupta Empire, that is the Kumar Gupta, and later on supported by the Harsh, the Empire of Kannauj, as well as the Empire of the Pal Empire. But some of the building, as the architect says, and whatever we have got from the excavation of the site, it suggests that the sum of the building was contributed by the Ashoka also. When we see the architect of the university, it was made by the red brick, and you will surprised to know when you get the time, you must visit to the Bihar after this lockdown gets over and after the situation of this corona gets over and the conditions are favorable. You will surprised to see the building of the Nalanda University, how huge it was, how big it was, and how well maintained it was. Even it has a dormitory for each and every individual. So you can think that if the 10,000 students are there and 2,000 faculties are there, total 12,000, it must have the 12,000 dormitories. I think no university at the present time have that much accommodation for the students, to best of my knowledge. If someone is there, I don't know. It has temples, it has some space for praying, it has some godowns kind of a thing for storing, well planned drainage system, everything was well and fine, like a very well planned city kind of a thing. The existing is in the 14 acres, and that is the only 10% of the original structure. So you can just think that how big it was. Okay. And you can just simply understand that the popularity, the excellency and legacy of Nalanda University, that it attracted scholars, students, teachers and even the visitors, not only from India but also throughout the country, throughout the world, like China, Greece, Persia, Tibet, Korea and Central Asia, and produced a great scholar of that time. See, this is the picture of the library, one of the library. Like that, it is said, and as per the literature available in the writing of Hinsang, that like that 4 libraries was there in the Nalanda University, and each library had a 9-storied building. So how big it was? 9-storied building, 4 building. Now it is a part of UNESCO World Heritage Site. And as I was talking before, that the Nalanda was skirted by the Turkish Muslim invaders Bakhtiyar Khilji in 1193, and when it was fired off, it was continued burning up to 3 to 4 months. It was demolished. Actually, there is also a very interesting story in the demolition of the Nalanda University. It is said that it is not only once the university was demolished, it was demolished thrice, means 3 times. But somehow, after first demolition by some Mughal or some uh, uh, attackers on the India, it survived and it again continued functioning. After again, when the second demolish, it continued functioning. But after the third demolish, since the whole universities was fired off and the building was destroyed, that's why it was not possible to again function the Nalanda University. So after that, the university stopped functioning because the whole university was burnt. Okay. Even when we see the type of courses taught in that university, was not only that literatures and the course related to the religion. Obviously that university was initiated to build by the Buddhist monk. That's why the study of Buddhism was one of the prime focus of the university. But that was not the only focus of university. Apart from that, Buddhist and Hindu studies, the foreign studies about the foreign trade, foreign native like kind of courses was there. Science and astronomy courses was there. Medicine, logic, philosophy, Samkhya, Yoga Shastra, Veda and Buddhism. So many courses was there. This is the one thing. The next thing is that it is also said that when the university was functioning, the Buddha who has established that the Buddhism, Gautam Buddha, and the Mahavira both have visited the university. So how it was blessed, and it was really a true center of excellence of higher education in that India. And we know that we a very legendary past India was having in all the area, that is even in the education also. So government has also thought, can we establish the legends legacy of Nalanda University once again. So they have started. Why not we start a university of that time, that we had a past? That time there was very less resources. There that time the facility was very less. So can we establish? And government thought, yes, we should establish, because India has a potentiality of becoming a Vishwa Guru, that is the world leader in the education. Even the present government is also emphasizing to become a world leader, okay, and become a center of excellence in education. This is also the prime focus of the present government also. So, by keeping that view, the government of India has thought of establishing a university, that is again the Nalanda University. I think you must have some idea about the university. This is the symbol, this is the emblem of the university. That is the revival plan of the Nalanda University, and it was mooted by the then president of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and he thought that why not we can establish a center of excellence like Nalanda University in the ancient period we were having. Okay, so he thought, he shared his idea with the nation, and then the then government of Bihar has also taken the initiative. Okay, and at the same time, when this thought was going in the India, means when the Abdul Kalam proposed to establish a center of excellence, and when the government of Bihar also got agreed, okay, so we can establish. Then at the same time, the Singapore government also presented a proposal that in the nearby places of the original Nalanda University, that is the ancient Nalanda University, can be established a new institution that should be a center of excellence, and government shown a positive sign to that proposal. And uh, once again, the leaders, when the East Asian Summit in 2007 was happening in the Philippines, so it was proposed in the summit, and most of the country, almost country, they have agreed, okay, that they will collaborate and they will try to establish such university once again. And at last, because establishing a university requires some legal implications, some that is the regulation, and we know that every university have its own act. So that was required, and in 2010 both houses have passed the Nalanda University Act 2010, and then the formal ways of establishing the Nalanda University is cleared. However, it was started in 2006. Then the Singapore government has given a proposal. Then Bihar government also got agreed. Okay, so we will give the land and all those things. Whatever the required is there on the part of Bihar government, they will provide. And the international community also shown the interest in establishing. So lastly, uh, mm, it was passed in 2010, and in 2000 September 2014 the university started functioning. These are the major member country of the Nalanda University. You can say that there are so many countries: India, Vietnam, Thailand, New Zealand, Portugal, China, Cambodia. So many countries are there. At present, the New Nalanda University have 5 schools. One is the school related to the Buddhist study, philosophy of comparative religion. Another is the School of Ecology, Environment Studies, School of Historical Studies, School of Language and Literature, School of Management Studies, and under all the schools there are various courses are being carried out. There are faculties from India and from the globe. There are Indian students and international students, and the new campus of the university is coming out nearby the existing, the original Nalanda University. So by that I think I have given the brief description of the all the 3 universities, right from the past, the center of excellence we had, in present the center of excellence for Orisha we have, that is the Utkal University, and the one of the center of excellence in the higher education, that is coming up, the new Nalanda University. When we think and when we talk about these institutions, time will always be less, because the legacy of Nalanda University, how it has served the country, how it was, how the teaching learning process was being imparted there. So the story of these universities are very large, and we can continue hours when we will start talking in detail about these universities. But I have tried to cover all the things in and around 45 minutes, and we will have after that this interactive session, where if you have any sort of a question, any sort of queries, or anything you want to talk with me, you want to ask with me, you can ask. And so I think we should stop screen sharing and we should come to the interactive session. So you can ask me directly the questions, or you can ask the question by uh, putting in the chat box also. Something has come in the chat. Okay.
Sir, this such amazing, it's so amazing to know so much about Odisha, and especially the educational excellence that exists, sir. Sir, I feel many of our students would be interested in reading up more about Utkal University and Nalanda University. Sir, can we find a lot of literature with respect to Nalanda University, how it would function at that time?
Uh, Literature regarding the Nalanda University are available in the official website of Bihar government also. Some of the literature you
Okay,
can get from the National Archives, archives.org, because those
okay,
literatures are very
okay.
old one. Okay, so you can
Yes,
get
sir.
some new literatures are also have been written, but the old one are very authentic, because when we see the new literature na, it is always the interpretation of the person. Because for
Yes.
sake of example I will try to highlight. Suppose for this presentation I have gone through the several literature. I have visited the Nalanda also several times. So how I perceive those literature, how I have seen this, and how I have perceived, then I have described in my own word. So it may be possible that something I have missed. It may be possible that something I have misinterpreted. The original, see, the when the channel will go na, when the information will travel from one channel to other channel, some information will loss. So it is a better, always better, I prefer when I used to teach the student in the class also, better to consult the original literature as far as possible. Here original is obviously not possible, because Hensang has written in the Chinese, but some are the very ancient literature and some are the very good literatures are also available in the archive website. I will also try and
Sure,
download
sir.
and send to the Srima Banerjee madam, so that she can
Yes.
disburse that literature.
Yes, sir.
That I can
Yes.
do, because obviously
Thank you,
searching a
sir.
literature takes time. Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Sir, if you can speak something about Regional Institute of Education, Bhubaneswar,
Okay. Actu- okay, it's my
in short, in short.
it's my pleasure, ma'am, to actually to speak on about the Regional Institute of Education. Uh, for me, it's a institution where I have professionally and academically nurtured. Okay, when you see the Regional Institute of Education, actually in India we have a total 5 Regional Institute of Education located at a different part of India. One is in the Bhubaneswar, one is in the Bhopal, Mysore and Ajmer. 4. Another one is in the Shillong, that is the Northeast Regional Institute of Education, NERI. Initially we were having 4, then the fifth one has come up in the Shillong. Another one is coming up in the Nellore. The building is ready. The financial approval and the faculty approval and so many that legal approval are required. When all those things will be cleared, then that institution will start functioning. And the NCRT proposal is to establish the regional institution in every state. Even it was for the Maharashtra also, but somehow it is not be materialized. Even if for the Bihar also, but Bihar government is unable to give the land, so that could not be started. So the regional institutes, for the regional institutes are established way back in 1963 to 4, like that, when the Kothari Commission has given the recommendation to strengthen the teaching training program, to work in the teacher education program. So when the Kothari Commission has given the recommendation, then the NCRT is established, and the 4 regional institutes are also established in the 4 regions, and each regional institutes cater the need of that region. Means the Bhubaneswar Regional Institute of Education is not only for Orissa, it is for Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Andaman and Nicobar, northeastern states like Manipur, and all those things. So to cater the need of that region. Okay, one of the thing. The second thing is that when we see the NCRT and its emblem, you will find that 3 swans are there. You can see. I can also show in the. Just wait 1 minute. I will show you. See, when we see the symbol of NCRT, it has 3 swans. One, two, three. 3 swans are there, and all the swans reflects the different objective of establishing uh, the NCRT. And objective of establishing NCRT are 3. One is the research, means to conduct research in the area of education and teacher education. Then the training, trained the persons, even the teacher, student, or impart, better to say that the impart the pre-service and in-service training for having a qualitative teachers for the school education. Mainly NCERT works for the school education. Okay, we don't work in the area of teacher education, but we have a teacher education program to extend the input which we are getting from the research. Okay, so one objective is to research, another objective is to training, and the next objective is the extension. Means whatever the input we are getting out of the research, that must go to the field, that must go to the school classroom. I will try to highlight that we were not having the pre-primary education curriculum and framework and policy till now in our country. NCERT has experimented in that pre-primary education by establishing pre-primary education center in all regional institute of education, and by getting the input we have now come up with a curriculum for pre-primary education. So in that way it works, and very surprisingly I think you must, I don't know you are knowing or not, when we see the name of NCERT in English, N, C, E, R and T, you will find that N, C, R and T are as a normal uh, uh, that the font, but E is a something different. Actually this E has been taken by the view of keeping two books. You will just see, you keep the two books one upon one, and you see from the corner you will find a shape like that. So that is the objective of establishing the NCERT. In each regional institute of education we have courses like a B.Ed, M.Ed, M.Phil, PhD, and 4-year integrated B.Ed. You must be knowing that. First of all, we have experimented 2-year B.Ed program. When the whole country was having 1-year B.Ed program, we were having 2-year B.Ed program. And when I got admission in B.Ed in NCERT, I have taken 2-year B.Ed. ठीक है, most of you have taken 1-year B.Ed. I was doing 2-year B.Ed. So we have experimented and we have demonstrated the difference between 1-year B.Ed, 2-year B.Ed, 1-year B.Ed and integrated 4-year B.Ed. Okay. So
Okay.
on the basis of that, the country has adapted and government has made mandatory that B.Ed will be of 2 year. So that's in that fashion we used to work. So again I try to highlight, people think that RI is a teacher training institute. No, we are not. We are research institute. The B.Ed and M.Ed program we run is to experiment, not only to conduct the course. It is a part of our experiment. So it looks like that we are teacher training institute, but we are not. Every regional institute of education is equipped with one adjacent demonstrative multi-purpose school, that is the DM school we used to say, where the student of RI can go for experimentation, like that the internship, or like that you want to visit the class to observe, or anything you want to interact with the student. So each regional institute have one demonstrative multi-purpose school. Each regional institute has a ultra modern ICT studio lab. Nowadays you must be watching the Swam Prabha channel. There are several Swam Prabha channel dedicated to the different levels of education. Some are for higher education, some are for the technical education. So there is a one Swam Prabha channel which is channel number 31. So in there you must be saying several educational videos are being telecasted. All those videos are recorded in the studio of regional institute. You can see the record of those videos in the YouTube channel also, and the official YouTube channel of the.
Your yourself, your voice is coming, it's disturbing. We are not able to hear, sir.
Now I am audible.
Yes, sir. Sir, not for you. Some students have actually
Yes.
causing
That
that.
I am also. Okay. No problem, ma'am. It happens. No problem. So
Yeah.
every institution is having the ultra modern ICT studio, means where we can record any type of videos. Like that, you can understand that it's a mini. You can say that the film set where the films are filmed, and like the TV serials are filmed. So all the facilities we have in our studio, like that recording, editing, telecasting, broadcasting, every facility we have. RI, especially RI Bhubaneswar, is the nodal center for ICT in education, Bangkok. UNESCO nodal center. RI Bhubaneswar is that. So we work in a different fields of education. We work also in the pre-primary education, that we have experimented and come up with a curriculum. That curriculum is available in the official website of the NCRT. If you are interested, you can go and see, because in the future that curriculum is only going to be implemented throughout the country. uh, we work with the guidance and counselings of a student and preparing a teacher for that. That's why we have courses in a blended mode, that is the diploma in guidance and counseling, where we prepare the counselors for schools. And very interestingly, one of the basic, means the very good thing in the all RIE is that RIE is one of the few, among the few institutions where the education is from pre-primary to PhD. We have a pre-primary, we have a school from class 1 to 12. After that we have a graduation, 4-year BSc BEd. We have a that is the postgraduate courses also. We have a MPhil courses also. We have a PhD courses also. So there are very few institutions in India those have a courses from pre-primary to PhD. And so many great personalities are from our institution. You must be knowing the Srikant Das, the governor of RBI. He is an alumni of DM School RI Bhubaneswar. He is an alumni of so many, even the ministers, so many, even the that secretary of the governments are the product of our school. Our
Okay.
school, actually better to say that our school is more famous than our institute, because our institute prepares the teacher, but our school prepares a budding person. They get admission, they leave school after 12, and we nurture them in a such a fashion that they are getting opportunity everywhere. So I will request, ma'am, if you are interested. I know that it will have some financial implication also for the students and the management part. Uh, when this situation will get over, you may visit the nearby regional institute. I think it
Yes,
is
sir.
in, you can go to the Bhopal or kind of a thing, so that you will try to know that what kind of activity we used to carry out in the RI. We serious the
Okay.
research at a very rigorous level.
Okay.
Okay. Apart from that, as I have mentioned in the CV also, we conduct throughout the year the various kind of a research. One kind of a research is the PSC projects that are approved by the Ministry of MHRD. We prepare a project, it goes to the headquarter NCRT Delhi, then it goes to the ministry and it is approved. That is the one kind of a project. Another kind of a project we have, that is the small research project, that is approved within the institute only, means the principal is competent authority to approve that kind of a research project. So we do lots of work. We work in the field of ICT, we work in the field of the curriculum development for the different state, if some states are requesting us like that, into I think 2017-16, Jharkhand state has requested to develop a curriculum for B.Ed for that state, because in 14 the regulation has come that B.Ed will shift from 1 year to 2 year, and the state find it difficult to prepare the curriculum, so they have given us the task. We have developed with the consultation of the state a curriculum. We used to conduct the research also, because in the some state there was a problem of dropouts of students, so we try to find out what is the cause of dropouts. Okay, some student, you must be knowing, in the Jharkhand some school were having the zero result in the board. So like that, the project is from the various angle we used to conduct. It's our research project also. Some projects are requested by the state also. Sometimes the project is requested by the central government also. Like that, for one training project is there, you might be knowing, the NISTHA training program. That is for the skill enhancement of teacher and the head teachers of the school. It was a government of India program, because government of India have identified that there is a lack of proper training to the school leaders and school teacher, so we can have a training program. So like that, the program we used to have. Yes ma'am, Srima ma'am.
Sir, many others also wants to ask questions. Students as well as faculty members, you are please welcome to ask questions to sir.
Question anytime you can ask, no problem. Even after this
Sir
session
is
also you can also ask. Yes, please, anyone.
yeah. Yes, anyone? Any questions? Mamta, Madhumita, whom all we can see. Archana ma'am, Rexina,
I
Riya,
think they are tired of listening more than an hour.
Tanvi, you can ask. Vishal, history paper.
Sir, till the time they ask questions,
Yes
I
ma'am.
would like to share that last year I visited Regional Institute of Education, Bhopal, and
Okay.
it's a lovely place, and I know a lot of research, a lot of activities happen, and also I got to meet two students from Regional Institute of Education, Bhubaneswar. They were PhD students, and you can surely make out the quality of education that you impart looking at your students, talking to them.
Yes.
And we know the work that happens in this regional institute, sir. Hats off to you.
Okay, thank you ma'am. Professor Pradhan is principal there in RI Bhopal.
Yes, yes, yes,
Nityanand
yes.
Pradhan. He is from he is
Nityanand
Oriya
Pradhan,
only.
sir.
I know him from Orissa. He is a Oriya person.
Oh, yeah, person, yes.
Yes,
Okay,
anybody?
Vaishali, there are no questions.
Yeah, sir, I have a question.
Yes ma'am.
Archana ma'am, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, since you shared that you have been like 1 year BA, 2 year, and now integrated. So, what difference did you find with respect to the students of 1 year, 2 year, and the integrated course, and which you would recommend is good for future?
It's a very good question, ma'am. Actually, that always we try to find that why we have shifted from 1 year to 2 year, even for the MAd and even for the BEd. Even the now the when we see the draft policy uh, of the government of India and new education policy, it says that the slowly we will shift from 2 year to 4 year integrated. The logic is very simple and crystal clear, that teacher education program is a skill based program. Okay, when we talk about the skill based program, then obviously there will be a theoretical input and there will be a scope to practice the theoretical inputs. There must be enough opportunity. And in the 1 year program, it was identified in the several research that theoretical input is okay, but there is a lack in the practical input. And apart from the practical input that we are getting in internship while we are teaching, it is also necessary for a teacher to understand the society, because we cannot delink society from the education. It is also necessary to understand the psychological temperament of the learner. So this suggests that there will be more sessions of internship. There will be a program where a student will find opportunity to go to the society, that is the societal interaction program. When I was a B.Ed student, that time it was working with community. Now it has been restructured. Okay, so we must understand the society. We must get more opportunity for teaching the students, so that we can brush up our skill, and delivering a lesson for 1 month or less than 1 month is not sufficient. And when you will see the other professional programs like engineering, like even the medical, like in the law, okay, so there is a more emphasis in the practical session. In the law they have a moot session, moot court. In the medical they
Yes.
have a internship, house internship session. Okay, in the engineering also they have a lab work, but somehow the practical session was there in the teacher education program, but it was identified it is not sufficient, because we are dealing with a human, we are not dealing with a machines. That is the difference between the teachers and other profession. We deal with the mind, and dealing with a mind is the most difficult task of the universe. Dealing with a machine is easy, but dealing with a mind is a difficult. That's why it is proposed that to get the more practical opportunity, to give the opportunity to interact with the society, there is a necessity to expand the time. Okay, and it was also observed that in the 21st century it is required that more input should be given to the teacher, because in the 1 year program it was very difficult to give at least the basic orientation of everything. I know that in the any course we cannot give the 100% of a thing, everything cannot be taught. Something I will initiate, means the course will initiate, and something you have to explore and enhance when you will be in the profession. But 1 year was even though not sufficient, because nowadays we need a that is the ICT skills. How it will be possible in the 1 year course? We now need to understand the complex psychology of a learner. Learners are also not that much simple as they were earlier. We have to understand the complex structure of the family and society. So for that reason it was thought that let it be 2 year. And the reason to move from again 2 year to 4 year is that it was found out in the several research that those who are unable to get employment opportunity in any other field, they think that the teacher, being a teacher is the easier for them. It is the secondary kind of a thing. And even I have seen some people who take admission in B.Ed, they are preparing for something, and for staying in Bhubaneswar, for getting a cheap accommodation, they will take admission in the B.Ed, and they will be preparing something. Once they will get opportunity, they will leave the course. Means teaching was not their first preference. So government thought it's a better to nurture the future teacher right from the +2, as we nurture the doctors, engineers and other professionals, so that they can develop the temperament, they can develop the it is the professional ethics for that being a teacher. So it is all about making them more accountable, because what kind of the input was, suppose that was possible in 2 years, it is just one step more. I think in future some more step may come, because you must be knowing I was also trying to get a PhD offer in some foreign university. So in the good university, it is a mandatory to have some teaching experience. They have a philosophy that if you don't have a teaching experience, you don't know the problem of exact classroom, then how you will pursue the PhD? Because in PhD you will explore the field of education only. So how you will that prepare a you can say that the research proposal, identify a research problem, and how you will do a research, because whatever identified will be there, that will be hypothetical based upon some literature. It will be not real you have faced. So first you teach, face the problem, then do a research. But in India, anybody having the B.Ed or M.Ed, MA education degree, M.Ed or MA education degree can go for direct PhD even without the MPhil. So that the things are coming up. That's the situation. Yes, ma'am. I think
Yeah, thank you, sir. It was a very good analysis, I would say, of all the different types of teacher education which you have gone through and handled. Thank you very much.
okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Shrima, can I also say something?
Yes, of course, ma'am.
Am I audible, Shrima?
Yes.
Yeah. So, sir, I would just like to, I'm not asking you a question, but I would just like to add over here
Yes,
that
ma'am.
this program that the MHRD has come up with, the ESBS, Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat,
Yes, ma'am.
ES, uh, yeah,
EPSB.
it's such a lovely, such a lovely rationale. We are
Yes,
all so busy in our lives, we would never have taken the trouble to know a little more of another state
yes,
of our country.
yes, yes,
We had this opportunity today to listen to such a learned discourse of yours. You know, you have given us such an in depth discourse. And you also took us back to the times of Nalanda University and made us feel so proud of our heritage. Something that we Indians need to start doing. And I'm so glad that you were here today with us to share whatever you shared. Thank you so much, sir.
thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, over to you, Shrima and Vishali and Archana.
Yes, ma'am. Your voice is not coming, Srima, ma'am. Your voice is mute.
Okay, sorry.
Huh.
Vaishali ma'am, I feel students don't have any questions to ask. So I
Okay.
request you to kindly propose a vote of thanks to sir.
Yes. Good day to all. On behalf of our management, our principal, Dr. Anita Swami, our staff and students, I express our heartfelt gratitude for sparing your valuable time and orienting us about Utkal and Nalanda University, and of course about the B.Ed, M.Ed programs in the various programs run in your Regional Institute of Education also, sir. Such prestigious universities and institutes of India. Sir, let me be very frank and share this with you. Sir, 6 months back, when we had to start with this EBSB, Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat program, and we got to know that we were paired with Odisha, we were a little disappointed, and we felt that what is there in Odisha? It is only that Puri temple. Besides, there was nothing to know more about Odisha. But sir, in the 6 months, of course, we did not get an opportunity to interact with somebody from Odisha. We have some people staying here in Mumbai. But besides that, we have not really interacted with somebody from Odisha, staying in Odisha right now. But the kind of programs that we had, dance, drama, drum music, language, all the programs that we had in our institutes, the projects that we did on Odisha, sir, now the only desire, okay, or only wish that we all of us have is we want to visit Odisha, and not for 4 or 5 days, but we want to come and stay in Odisha for a month and experience Odisha, and remember it for our lifetime, sir. And visit all those institutions of educational excellence and know more and more about Odisha, sir. So this has left a thirst in us for knowing more and more about Orissa. Sir, thank you once again for talking about, for giving us so much of insights about Utkal University, Nalanda University, and regional institutes, sir. So thank you so much.
Okay,
And
thank
also,
you.
I would like to say something, sir, that we all are going to pray that we all are aware that the cyclone Amphan is approaching Odisha and West Bengal. So we just pray to God. We want you to know that we all are going to pray to the Almighty that the cyclone just passes away without even touching Odisha and other parts, of course. Our own Odisha, our own people of Odisha, we don't want the cyclone to touch it also. Thank you once again,
Okay,
sir.
thank
And thank you,
you.
Shrima, for organizing this.
No, really, it was a pleasure. Your students, you will be amazed to know that we hardly knew, sir. College has organized a program. In that program, faculty development program, we just got in contact with sir, and just within one phone call about EBSB, he readily accepted the invitation, and he said that okay, I will love to speak to the students, especially of B.Ed college, and like to pass on the information. So I feel all of us, let's give a clap to sir by putting on our screen so that even he knows that really he has. Sir, you can see everyone clapping for you, even
Yes, yes, I'm
virtually the
seeing.
clap is heard.
Take a screenshot, Shrima ma'am.
Sure, sure.
It was a
Thank you,
lovely
sir.
session. Very nice.
Yeah, Manjit, anything else if you'd like to add, Archana ma'am, please.
We are so glad that we were a part of
And one
this
more
Same
thing,
here,
section.
ma'am.
ma'am.
Actually, when we talk about the Orissa, there are lots to talk, even from the culture, even from the language, even from the beauty, even from the nature, even lots of things are there. Even the Orissa is not much explored. Even in the Koraput, you will, as I was talking, that people are doing farming coffee. You can get the Koraput coffee on the Amazon also. You just search on the Amazon, you will get the Koraput coffee. It's such a good aroma and taste.
Sir,
We'll
we will
surely
all
try, sir.
When
Have
you
it.
will take a Koraput coffee, you will forget about the Nescafe and all those things. I'm sure.
So, no students, no questions from your side, none of you? Mansi, Janvi, no? History
Sir, we were
people?
going to have an exchange program, student and faculty exchange program. We were so happy, Vaishali ma'am and myself and the other staff members. We were so disappointed when it got cancelled. We had really looked forward to come to Odisha.